Welcome to the Roy Anthony and
every
Friends Show.
Tuesday and every Thursday. Y'all
Hey,
tap in.
is this thing on? Can you hear me?
Roy
is
Anthony
anybody out
Show
there?
is the spot to be, baby.
Hey, tune in. It's the hottest show, homie, on the West Coast. The Roy Anthony Show. It's the hottest show, homie, on the West Coast. The Roy Anthony Show. It's the hottest show, homie, on the West Coast. The Roy Anthony Show. And it's featuring the homie Big Hank
And Cynthia.
It's the hottest show, homie, on the West Coast. The Roy Anthony Show. It's the hottest show, homie, on the West Coast. The Roy Anthony Show. It's the hottest show, homie, on the West Coast. The Roy Anthony Show. And it's featuring the co-host Big Hank
and Cynthia.
It's the hottest show, homie, on the West Coast. Everybody tune in, you dig it? It's funny as hell, my dude. It's when we can kick it.
Every Tuesday.
Everything is going
every
down.
Thursday.
They about to do the most. It ain't a confrontation, it's a conversation, homie. Yo, on the weekends, Roy Anthony
Every
Show. It's
Tuesday.
during the week, homie. The Roy
Every
Anthony
Thursday.
Show. What you listening to? The Roy Anthony Show. Come on and get a
Tap
bar
in.
before we gotta
Tap
talk.
in.
What you listen?
Hey, what it do? What it do? What it do? Once again, this is Roy Anthony. Welcome to the Roy Anthony Show podcast, along with my co-stars, Miss Cynthia Joy Towner, Mr. Big Hank Norman. They will be coming in periodically. We're part of the WO platform, which was created by veterans. Leading the way is the head producer, Richie King, aka Redneck Pimp, along with our co-creator, Goose. And then we have our social producers, Blue Phoenix, Eighth and Daily. Then we have our good neighbors, BV Nation, back with veterans, based out of Oregon. My man, what's up? Carl was in the house. What's up, brother? What's up, man? You should be getting that. Man, it was taking a minute how we was trying to figure out what to get him and his beautiful wife, him and Miss Caitlin. And there's so much that I want to kick it with Carl Loomis out there in Oregon. Me and family and friends be talking about it, and I just want him to know is that, man, we got much love for you. I don't want you to think we just blowing smoke and ain't showing up out there and stuff, and because I got really love and respect for him. We also want to give a shout out to the Long Beach All-Stars, which is based out of Southern California. Long Beach, Compton, Linwood, and Watts come together, veterans and non-veterans alike. Then the WO Entertainment family, that's based around the United States, different countries, and our own personal family, friends, associates, and those who don't like us. Welcome to the podcast. What's up, Miss Darlett? She said, hi, handsome man. Hey, what's up with you, beautiful lady? Good to see you. To all those who watch us, the platform, everybody knows that we're about having a conversation. We represent the American citizens. We're not always, how can I say, we're not that big spotlight on the politics. We just discuss because we're going to use our votes. I implore that everyone should vote. Sometimes it becomes such a sticky point about the voting for the presidency. And I find myself honored to be able to use my vote. It's one thing I identify as being a U.S. citizen, is that I'm able to use my vote and I can use it the way I want to. Because when you go in that ballot booth, it's just you. You don't go in with a couple or somebody not even supposed to talk to you. Sometimes when I go into the ballot booth, I always stagger myself 2 places away from somebody, the next person. And then I'm in there with my own thing. I be doing it like I'm doing a test and don't want nobody else to cheat. I be covering up, And so, and I just want people, families, your friends and stuff, don't argue about who to vote for. Don't get in that argument. Just be glad that person is voting. I was in a somewhat conversation with my brother and my sister-in-law yesterday, and they know that I'm a free American. I can be swayed. My family, they're like set Democrats, no matter who's running, Democrats. Then I got some good friends of mine who are set Republicans. Whereas I listen and I research, I give my own gripes and stuff about certain things, and so I never tell anyone who you should vote for. Now, I will state that I think that the Republican Party should have been grilling somebody to carry the mantle. It makes me feel that a lot of the Republicans are scared of former President Donald Trump. And I don't think anyone should be fearful of any politician or anything. I think that you should be able to, that's what makes us have United States to be a free country, because we're based off of liberty. Um, and that's what we try to push. We know that, like Thomas Jefferson said, that tyranny is when the people fear the government, whereas liberty is when the government fears the people. And I think that's where we should be staying at and stuff. I'm holding something. You looking for these keys? Here you go, right here and stuff. These the keys to the situation.
I'm not. No.
I'm on the show and stuff, so I don't know which. I'm live on the show. Yes, this is like the second week, just disturbance. We're gonna fight these demons that comes, the demons of interruption and stuff like that. But as I talk to the American people, my thing is that, a lot of times it seems that the generations that came up in the 40s and the 50s tends to be kind of like selfish way of thinking. Our world is constantly evolving, and excuse me about that. Starter said, great advice, just vote. Right, that's right. Just me said Republicans aren't afraid of Trump. I don't know, man. Sometimes, because I've been hearing them coming at them to, like, man, come on, let's talk about politics. I think that as a leader, and I was taught like this, as a leader, you should always be able to, I'm gonna say it like this. I was always taught, and I lead my productions of some of the shows I do, that if things go wrong, I take the responsibility of it. If things are going right, it's a team effort. It's not, oh, I made this happen. It's a team effort. But that's what I consider a leader. Not where I'm gonna make somebody look bad or anything like that. Carl said, what absolutely blew my mind is hearing RFK is stepping down in the presidential race and endorsing Trump. Yeah, and I've seen that, and you can kind of believe, and I'm glad you brought that up, Carl Loomis, because there's another guy that I had a lot of respect for, in which his name is Cornel West. And Cornel West was American philosopher, teacher, professor at colleges. And I used to listen to his speeches and read his excerpts and stuff like that. But I lost some respect for him because of the stuff that he would state in the past. And then I found out here he's running as independent presidential candidate, to find that he just got kicked off two of the states. I think it's Michigan and Arizona, for having when you are running for a high office, you're supposed to get referrals, references from the parties. And he had some people that was rejected because he had some fake stuff on there, and found out that some of the MAGA went to these people's house in the nighttime to get them to change their mind to accept Cornel West, because taking the votes for like the independents can strengthen somebody else's chances, if it makes any sense. And I lost a lot of respect for Cornel West, especially after I read some of the stuff that he was doing that went totally against the things he was teaching. And I just have a little problem with double-minded people. Either you be one way or you're not. Carl Loomis, he's one way, and I appreciate that coming or going, just like Just Me. I would say Just Me. I know his name, but I try to keep it where the respect that the people show. He just said Trump and the Kennedy family have been friends for years. Well, yeah, he said, Carl said, I never heard that. I haven't either. You know, I didn't, matter of fact, I didn't know or do know. I don't know if this RFK is related to to John F. Kennedy and Robert Kennedy family, because I thought that they was mainly all Democrats. I don't know. Um, um, Starla said, "Oh, me either." Yeah, I mean, and this is what this platform is about. We having a conversation. Now, I don't want nobody to ever think that we are going against anything that you say, because, like, just me had asked me to look up about how could Kamala Harris be running as a Democratic president when she hadn't been actually endorsed by the Democratic Convention, which is a process which they started this week. But I did look it up, and he was right. I'm never going to state that somebody is wrong or right unless I look it up, and everybody knows I research, and I'm about facts, not theories. I'm not about fiction and stuff. I like to tell the truth. And as a stand-up comedian, and I'm in front of people, I want to be, even though I may make light of something, I still want to be factual in the things that I'm saying, if it makes sense. Um, I've been looking at, like me, I want to see what type of um policies that you have, or ideas, or policies you think you may want to present to America, instead of all the name slinging, right? Just Me said that Trump and John were real close. He said RFK is Bobby Kennedy's son. Oh, see, I didn't know that. This was, I'm finding out, but I'm kind of surprised, especially if you know the history of the Kennedys, John F. Kennedy and his brother Robert Kennedy, who was shot and killed in Los Angeles, who was there to talk about how the blacks was being treated in California at this time, and he got shot. And then, of course, we know that President JFK was shot with the same, politicalness, um, and, and that's the thing with me, is when politics get to a point that it becomes a divider within families and stuff like that. Um, he said Donald Trump was a Democrat until he ran against Hillary Clinton. And now I'm glad you said that, because when I heard former President Donald Trump say that Kamala wasn't black until recently, well, what he was saying, it's not to, it's truthful but untruthful. Now, as a resident of California, um, to my understanding, that she was really leaning more to her Indian side, but she never discounted her black side. I just knew that she leaned to the Indian side. And then I remember in 2008, when President Barack Obama was running for presidency, then I started seeing that she was relating more to her black side, but she's always been black. So, I've seen people who's half black, half white, and they have more white complexions. So they try to act like they lean more to their white side of their family than to the black side of the family. Um, um, and so when I seen that, because I said, didn't Donald Trump, I thought he was a Democrat. I remember when he had when he was doing the big concerts down in Atlantic City, and that he was a big component, to my understanding. He even endorsed um, Jesse Jackson, who was running as one of the first blacks in the Democratic Party, if you recall that, started said, "Oh boy, Donald Trump, yeah." Just me said Kamala is just whoa Vicky in a pantsuit. Well, one of the things that I try to tell people is that as a comedian and around some of my friends, so we like to bag, we can tease. There was time I could tease you, and talk about slang, without politics involved. I think that when politicians, instead of trying to say, look at this person and this person, this and that person, this and that, and this person, I want to hear about policies. See, I brought up something. He said that was a joke. Oh man, I know it, man. I don't take it personal because what people don't understand, or some people don't understand, is I can be swayed. I'm a free American. I bet you don't like none of the candidates. But I'm gonna use my vote. But usually the U.S. presidential ballot has 5 alternates. Now some people say, well, that'd be a waste if you waste. No, I vote the way I want to vote, and I don't have to tell anybody which way I'm gonna vote. I probably just tell y'all after I voted who I voted for, but right now I'm just listening. I can tell you what I don't like to hear, and I can tell you what I do like to hear. I can tell you that I'm not a rich person, so tax cuts and all that doesn't account to me. It seems like Elon Musk gets us, and the Walton family who owns Walmarts and all that. I see that can benefit them and people, any other multimillionaire. But us general working people who has to work every day to keep shelter over our heads, to keep these utilities on, that's what I'm looking at. Absolutely. She said, smiley face, 100% crazy agendas. See, like I've heard a lot of talk, y'all, over the years about the border. And a lot of people wonder why the border has so much chaos. Well, I personally know that there's a lot of parents that was crossing the border with their kids that they separated their kids from some of these people. Now, the media and some of these politicians makes it seem like they're fighting to get into our country so they can bring in drugs. Fentanyl is already in America because our hospital system use fentanyl. They just tell you that they use the proper dosage of it. But what they ain't telling you fully is that if you didn't know this, you can look it up. Some of these parents, kids, a lot of these parents, their kids been separated from them and they still don't have their kids. What would you do if you was at a border trying to get a better life? Because I've been down to Mexico and shoot, $100 can have you have a good time for real. It takes 15 dineros to make $1. They get out here and try to get a job, then guess what? But a lot of people ain't knowing. Just me said, if the Waltons got tax breaks, that lowers prices. Those big companies don't pay taxes out of their profits. They pass that on to us through inflated prices. Well, I'm gonna have to little disagree with you on that because prices. Okay, let me give you an example. This is what they talk about the Shell gas station, where I found out the Shell gas station, when we look at how much we get in barrels of oil, it's called an embargo, how much we get, where the Shell gas station considers each region of how to raise the money. Like in California, gas is $5 to $6 a gallon. But I hear more people in the Midwest, when I come down here, your gas is only $3. And saying this gas is expensive. But go out to Cali and you're trying to fill your car up with $20. Good luck with that. For real. Um, Richie King came in the house. He said, CEO. And he said, Roy sucks, laugh out loud. It's a common joke with us. Don't. Just me said, I've come in legally through the ports of entry. It's hard and it's long because it's worth it. Well, you know what? I come through. I'm gonna tell you something. Like coming through Mexico, I was coming back to the United States. Did you know that they have a line just for American citizens? Because I was like, it was cars all the way lined down. I'm like, whoa, we're gonna have to wait 3 or 4 hours. I got through in 15 minutes because I was American citizen. They got it's like an express lane coming back into the country. Um, he said, look on your gas pumps and look how much you pay in taxes. Yeah, but you know what? Some people don't understand is that they gouge these prices up. It's not where they taking a hit. Let me tell you, I was explaining to somebody the other day. I'm a civil designer. So if I built 100 houses and I tell them I want to make my interest rate 2%. This is what I told them. I said, I want to make my interest rate 2%. I don't want the official 6% and 8% that they put up on markups. I want to go 2%. Now, if I have 100 houses and I'm charging $1,200 a month for it, well, guess what? That gives me $1.2 million every month. Well, no, 120,000 every month. Where I can live off of $50,000 a year, but now I'm making 120K a month. Do the math. It's greed and not from our government. And no matter if they pay taxes, because let me tell you something. Before I bring in our guest, one of our regular stars is coming in. Did you know that? Okay, um, I lost my train of thought because I seen one of the comments coming in. But before I get that, I'm gonna read this. What Miss Starter said: the issue saddens me. These children are suffering big time. Part of our government agenda. Let me tell you something. That's what I was getting to. In California and Missouri is going through the same thing. And I told some of my partners in Missouri, even Richie King, that in California, they when they started the cannabis sales, they had what they call an inside outside tax because since it isn't federally legal yet, the states there's no regulation set in place. They used to do this when liquor was first coming out and the states was approving liquor. The states can charge you 30% of your sales. But when the feds came in and set up regulations, they knocked it to where the state had to go no more than 7%. Well, they're doing that with the cannabis. Now, you go to get a 10, you want to go spend to go get a $10 bag at the dispensary. When you pay for it, you're paying $12.75. They say, hey, y'all got taxes on weed? And so then the dispensary person said, look, we only get to keep 50% of it. So out that 12.75, they only got to keep $5. The state had the inside tax, which on the $10, they get their 50%. And then the outside tax was the $2.75. Before I read the other comments, let me bring in, hey, how you doing, Miss Leone? Are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Hey, what's up? How you doing there, Miss Beautiful Franchise?
Good. How are
Franchise.
you?
Oh, I'm doing great. I can't complain. Always blessed.
I hear and I see always.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Some of the things that we go through and stuff, it's just a testimony to others to keep pushing through. And
Yes, exactly.
and I want to get your opinion. I'm gonna read these comments right quick. Just me said, your state and county taxes make up how much of the price you pay per gallon. That's why our gas is cheaper than yours. Well, our governor didn't see it like that. Newsom came and wanted to know why our prices are so high. And that's the trip when our governor is asking why these prices so high.
Right. Right.
Shirley and them say, make sure you vote. It's your right. And that's why I just said that it is my, no matter who I vote for, and we're gonna get onto that. Miss Leone Wait, she is a very, very scholar person who's on the show, an entrepreneur. Since I've known her, she's always had hers, and that's been some years. It's almost what 18 years I've been knowing her. She's always been on top of everything. Dr. De La Hoya, Richie and stuff. Miss Daughter said, "Hi, beautiful lady."
Hello. How are
And
you?
then just me said, then you have sales tax on top of that. And that's the point, you know. But Miss Leonie, let me ask
Yeah.
you for one, as an entrepreneur, okay, and I know you own a beauty salon.
Yes.
What happens, like, do you raise the prices on somebody's head when you're doing their hair if one of your products prices went up $1?
Well, I don't do it while I'm doing their hair, but I let my clients know a year in advance if prices go up. Like, say, for instance, sale tax. When sale tax go up, and like a product that I normally pay $18 for, and now I'm paying $34 for that same product. They didn't increase the bottle, they didn't add more product, they didn't change the label. So when something like that happens, I try my best not to gouge my clients. So I may increase, but I don't increase it all around, if that makes sense. I try my best to know that they're also paying taxes. So I'm not going to sit up here and raise it so high, but I do increase it, but not while I'm styling their hair.
Well,
I
I wouldn't
normally,
say while you're
every,
doing their hair, like,
I
ooh,
know what you
girl,
meant. I know what you meant. Yeah. But
yeah,
they see everything because my clients can book online. So they can see everything, what's going on. And if they don't want to pay that price, trust me, they don't have to book that appointment. But in saying all that, yes, I try to, even the taxes, when the taxes go up, I try to go up just minimal, but not to gouge my clients because, again, they're also working citizens and they're also in corporate America as well. So they are paying taxes just like I am. Because a lot of people think hairstylists don't pay into Social Security and they don't pay taxes, but we do.
okay,
Some of us do it legally and some of us don't. But I
yeah.
try to stay legal, whatever I do.
I'm glad you state that because I'm gonna tell everybody, by trade, I'm a civil designer, and I was working for an engineer firm. I'm not gonna state their name, but they had, they are big, firms, so they have what they call the board, right? And now
Right.
every month the board gets a fiscal check. To my understanding, I'm gonna just break it down like it was $10,000 a month the board was getting from our work, right? And one day, one of our projects was like a $250 million project, and we didn't get the project, and everybody was aiming on getting this project. Well, the it brought down to where one month the board only got $9,500 instead of the 10,000. Well, it was brought to our attention that they was gonna have to let the bottom people of the engineering firm, we are going to have to give a layoff. And everybody was like, why? Because there was some people on the board that wanted to make their 10,000 a month, period. They didn't care if it meant somebody got to lose their job. I need my 10,000 a month. Does it make sense?
Wow.
Yeah.
It makes sense. It makes sense, but wow.
And this is what happened. Now, I'm gonna read this right quick from Justin. He said, "So you pass your cost increase onto the customer, just like I said." But I don't think it has to be so extensive. I don't think that if a product is raised by $1, I don't think that she's gonna raise to her clients by 5 or 10. Am I quoting that wrong, Miss Leone? Oh, she
No, you're
must be.
not. No, you're
Okay.
not.
Okay.
So, but like he said, yes, their prices are still being raised. But again, if my product, if uh, the people that I do business with, if they're going up 30%, I wouldn't go up 30% with my clients. You
Okay.
know,
That makes sense, and I like it. Now, I was talking on the subject. I want to do another political point of what I've seen a lot of our politicians been talking about the border. Now, I was mentioning before we got off about there's a lot of people who's looking for their kids. This is the truth about a lot of the I don't know how anybody else would act, but if I was going to a place and I'm going for better living and I got my kids with me and they tell me then I can't come in, then you turn me away with my kids. I didn't never understood why they separated the kids like we're doing the most Christian thing to do. Let's put the kids up, and then they can't find their kids. Guess what? I'm not leaving from this border neither. Somebody's gonna give me my kids, and I'm just being honest. There's no fight about that, about the kids.
Right.
So we'll take out that 40 50%. But one of the things I can't understand, and this is where I have a problem with President Joe Biden and Vice President Kamala Harris on this particular thing. I don't see I can't see giving $5 to $10 billion to Ukraine when I could have been putting that money in these countries that are surrounding the US, where we can make the North America and South America a very major force, and we put money into there and strengthen their countries, that where these people, because when I seen the travels from Honduras of those people coming towards America, they were saying that they was tired of going through the poverty. You know, they get TVs down there, they see all the good stuff selling. You got Taco Bell commercials and all these commercials, and they down there hungry in the mud. Let's strengthen up our countries around us. And last, when I was saying this Tuesday at the end, and I seen what Just Me said. Matter of fact, I want to put this quote. He said, "Fact of the matter is, we're taxed to death." You're absolutely right. And he said the U.S. tax dollars should only be used in U.S. period. Well, that I believe that. There's too many of us homeless and hungry here in the United States. But if we're going to give any money, it should be the American people. And then I think we should strengthen ourselves around these countries. You know, let's strengthen them. And so, because we're doing this with Ukraine, and I'll be wondering, are we doing this to Ukraine because we're trying to do a side slap in the face to President Putin and them? You know, my thing is, let's strengthen ourselves out. Why is this constantly a political thing about the border when we could use common sense? Sir, President Biden, don't give out money to Ukraine. We shouldn't have did that, sir. We should be sent up here strengthening our country, and the countries around us. You know,
Did you figure out why they gave it, and why are we dealing with Ukraine? Ukraine.
I looked into it deeply because it's not, and I really don't like it. I didn't like it at all because, for one, what we've been doing is, and then I understood why former President Donald Trump got in trouble the first time. I think when he got impeached the first time, it was because of the situation of upholding monies for them. And he said, until you can, you know, he was telling them, give us some information. But I think he took it personal because he was using it as a political ploy to go after Hunter Biden and all that stuff. My thing is, and I'm going to tell these people who's looking at it, these same Ukrainians, just like some of these Palestinians, they come over here. Yeah, they respect the white neighbors, but they don't respect the black neighbors. And these are facts. And so one time I told the pilots, there was some cats, and I didn't understand how they let them protest in Anaheim and Anaheim, California. And when we have a peaceful protest, the SWAT and everybody's coming in. Now, I looked it up before about Ukraine. It's because we want to be where we got an underlying set situation with Russia. Because what I didn't like about Ukraine, when Russia started bombing you, the first thing you did was y'all kicked black folks off them buses and them trains. I seen it. I had people who I know in Africa whose children was going to college in Ukraine, and it was so hurt that their kids was where bombs was blown up in the air or kicked out in the train. And yes, he's right. He said that was Joe Biden. Um, um, well, I still had to say, I'm gonna say that again, just me. I still want us to show respect. He should be, that was President Joe Biden. We should still show him respect because he is the president of the United States. I don't, that's like me calling my grandmother by her first name. I just have a knack with that, showing respect. He said foreign aid should be a loan. Your interest rate is based on your relationship with the U.S. I totally agree. Ms. Starter said, "Oh, right on point, Roy Anthony." See, some of this stuff can be simplistic, but the Word of God even tells us man will believe lies before we believe the truth. See, when we sit up here and we go back and forth, back and forth, back and forth with each other, guess what? We tend to divide away. We should never let four people in this who's running for presidency and vice presidency become a division from your friends and your family and everything. Sometimes some things is best left unsaid. Keep your mouth shut and just let your actions do. You don't have to tell nobody who you're going to vote for or why you're going to vote for them and all that. Because me personally, I can tell you, I'm going to vote, but I don't like none of them. I'll be honest with you. I'm 10 watts. I can relate with you and the way you put out, because nobody's going to put out the negative parts. It's people like myself who research it. And it wasn't not too long ago, sir, when Mr. George Floyd died in your state. And when the people protested, it was the governor that sent the National Guard in there and started whooping butt. I seen a young teenager by the name of Kyle Remington that went in there and murdered two people and then got exonerated. You know what I'm saying, sir? This was from your state. You can be a high school teacher and lovely dovey and all that stuff, but I pay attention because with every pro, there's a con. And so I just want to let that be known. Miss Kamala Harris, I've just got concerns because as a citizen in California, I do remember, and this is before you became an attorney general, I had problems with you as being the district attorney of San Francisco when Oscar Grant got murdered in January the 1st of 2009. He was handcuffed on his stomach and the guy shot him in the back of his head. And the first thing you did was, instead of you prosecuting him, you pushed the case to Los Angeles where none of the peers know him. So he gets 2 years. And, you know, I have problems with that. When I seen 1,500 Black men and Latinos being arrested for marijuana uses, but when you use marijuana, you laughed it off. But we still voted for you as the senator of California. I'm just being honest. You know,
Can I
people.
get in there?
Yes, please, so please do.
Well, you know how everyone has a past. And if
Yeah,
we judge them on their past all the time, we will never get anywhere. That's just like you and me. If I'm still being judged on what I did back in the day, I shouldn't have any clients in my chair. I shouldn't be able to sell anybody insurance,
yeah.
But if I'm going to judge, you got to know every detail because there are always something that we are missing because they don't show us everything. And again, I'm not trying to speak for anyone or trying to say, oh, you should vote for this way or that way. I'm just speaking in general.
Just
Everyone
me.
has a past, and
Yeah.
sometimes they past could never people can
Keep
never
that
get over it.
point. You
Never
keep
can
that
get
point
over it.
because just me said he was vice president at the time. I wanted to catch that up. He said he didn't murder anyone. He protected himself. Oh, okay. You
Yep.
talking about Cal Renton? No, Cal Renton, and there's deeper stuff into that. Why Cal Renton? He went in there. The second person he killed, he was defending himself. The first person he killed, he was intentionally going to kill them because of some child molestation in his family. You got to get your facts right on that one. Started to absolutely tell the story. Now, what you just said, Miss Leona, you sent the scripture today. We're talking about forgiveness. Lord, God forgive you, right?
Yep.
The thing with me is that Kamala Harris has never repented about that.
You
See,
mean
it's a
she didn't
difference
do
of
it publicly? Is that what you're
it's
saying?
a because it was the public that went through it. See, I'm just saying is because when they brought it, let me tell you something. It seems like people have short memory when it comes to politics. In 2020, at the time, Miss Kamala Vice President Kamala Harris was at the Democratic convention going against President Joe Biden. She came in there serious, boop, 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 boop. But then another senator came in at her. I said I could, and she came in deep on her about these facts that I just claimed. And Miss Kamala Harris, Vice President Kamala Harris, never said, "Oh, you know what? You're right, and I want to ask my California residents that I'm sorry." She just shook her head because and she's hard on crime. But sometimes, and I know that you can't please. You can. They say you can please some of the people some of the times, but you can't please everybody all the time. I'm one of those all the people all the time. Sometimes when it comes to these political heads, yeah, you can't please me because I'm looking and I'm waiting for you to mess up because so many times throughout my life they tell you one thing and they do something else. So I'm known to them to be lying. So when I see, oh yeah, we're gonna do this and we're gonna do that, I'll be like, yeah, wait till that reality set in. I'm being honest. Just like a guy in Michigan, brother who owns a barbershop in Michigan, he stated this. He said when President Barack Obama got voted, the first day it was like going to the beach. Next thing you know, it was 8 years. What? Who profited from it? The LBQ community. They became strengthened because he allowed the states can do same-sex marriages. Me, myself, the first 4 years when I voted for him, I'm confessing, is that I voted for him because he was black. The second 4 years when he was running against Kerry, I had to listen to the political views because nothing was working with me the first 4 years because I really thought that we was going to get a reparation check that was equivalent of 40 acres and a mule. That was just my thinking. But that didn't happen. So I'm not going to be fooled again and stuff. But I mean, Rittenhouse protected himself.
Okay, so
Watch
you know
student
that
lobby.
there's, can you hear me? Because I know I'm
Yeah.
on the freeway now.
Well, let me read this right quick from just
All
me. He
right, go
said,
ahead.
Cal Rittenhouse protect himself. I watched the shooting live. We did too. And I watched the case. First guy swung a skateboard at his head and got shot. Second guy had a gun and was coming at him. Third attack him and was damn no, bro. Let me bring this up to his speed right quick. I'm gonna give it to you, Leonie. Cal Rittenhouse family had just been through the guy that he killed first. You got to dig into it, just me. The guy he killed first was actually he was going to go get a hit. Or what he did was his mother let him out and he had the assault rifle. So he went and stood with some guys in front of a garage, like they was protecting the property because it was already informed to them that the first guy he was going to shoot, and I didn't want to state his name, but I'm going to give you all the facts, that this guy that he killed first, now it could be a coincidence, it could be sure enough an irony coincidence, don't get me wrong, that the guy he killed first was just a guy who just got exonerated for raping a little kid in their family in another state. And so they was like, oh, this is the best way to get him. So when he killed the dude, that's when the other people seen it because they didn't know what was going on and stuff because he wasn't protecting no property. At first, he was standing in front of a garage like he's with everybody else protecting property. But then when he sees his the person he's after, he goes away from these guys, shoots that guy, and then other people seen it and started rushing him. Then he's falling down, shooting back at them. Of course, yes, that's how I went. But go ahead, Miss Leone, I'm listening to you, sugar.
I'm just like, wow. The killing is just, it's just overwhelming. It's just a lot of people are taking law into their own hands. And people are, it's just, okay, let me back up to President Obama. You know that there's a committee that everybody, I mean, his 12 peers that he has to sit and answer to. So when I voted for the first time, the first 4 years, yeah, I read up on him, read everything. And I was hoping that we would all go and vote for different things, not just for the president, but for all the different polls. But a lot of people did not. A lot of people didn't care how they vote. They just threw stuff together. So that's how some of this stuff came about. So when the poll, when that particular poll passed about same-sex marriage, it was how people voted. If they did not vote correctly, or if they voted how they wanted to vote, this is how it became legal. So
Well, each state had their chance to become legal after he wrote it in that it would be recognized in federal. See,
after
marriage
it
is,
was voted, it went through all the 12 committee. I mean, everybody on the oh shoot, I'm drawing a blank. But everybody, the 12 people that have to vote in, it could either be 8 to whatever, 12 to 12, or but somebody has to, they have to vote. President Obama is not the only one that says how it goes. He's just the main signer, and that's how people get in trouble. I mean, that's
yeah,
how people point the finger. They point the finger because he signed the bill. So once the bill is passed, it's his fault. But
but
it's
he
not
didn't
his
have to
fault. It's,
sign it
it's
though.
the
As the
well,
president,
yeah. But
he,
when they vote, when the other people, when the other committee, when the other his peers, when they all vote, and even if he say no, but if they all vote unanimously, he has to sign the bill. He is not the only one that can say, okay, I don't want this, but 12 people say yes. No, he has to go what his peers say, so he has to sign.
but you know that's so funny that you're saying that because Mr. Yoni, after former President Donald Trump was running 4 years, I started saying, "Wow, the president got that much power." I felt that. I mean, for real,
No,
because he was
he bought a
like,
lot of people off. He paid a
yeah,
lot
but
of
I'm
people.
just saying is he was signing in things, and I'm like, wow, I didn't know they had that much power because sometimes some people, some a certain president was making it seem like their hands are tied. Um,
They
um,
are, because they go by the vote and they go by legally.
there's some
Uh,
things that they don't need a committee.
Trump wasn't going by it legally. He was going by
Well,
paying people off.
yeah, but I'm just saying there's some things that a president can't sign off on without worrying about a committee and stuff. It's presented to him. But I also want to address just me said like he was talking about Cal Ritten, like he's gonna go in the crowd at night. Come on now. No, it was already seen that he was hanging in this particular area. They already
Wow.
did their reconnaissance of knowing that this guy hangs with these certain people. So you
Yeah.
know, and I'm gonna send you the excerpts, just me, because I always and not like just me just said here. And I agree with him on this one, Mr. Leone. He says presidents have overall veto power. See, he can. President Barack Obama said, "No, I ain't signing into no same-sex marriage stuff." But I'm not knocking that, you know, because it's done in the past. What I'm trying to do is, for one, we got to understand the definitions. I see too many blacks being Democrats. I see too many of my white neighbors being Republicans, and sometimes we don't have an understanding of what their definition is. Now, I like to make sure that we all on the same page. And I brought this up to some of my family members, and they not listening, you know, ain't it's like personal. Let's take the personal part out. You know, at least what I'm not saying I'm voting for Trump or I'm just saying is you can see Trump coming. Most KKK members wore masks over their heads so you don't see their identity. Now, if I see President Donald Trump, you know, he's bold with it. That part I like about him. You know what I'm saying? If I'm wrong, then I'm wrong. I'm stick with it. You know, do your thing, sir. What I don't like is the ones who smiling in my face, and then there's the ones who sitting up there actually burning the cross, hiding their face because they don't want me to know that's them. See, I have a problem with that. Now, what I'm saying is about our candidates, and I'm even surprised that they picked Senator J.D. Vance from Ohio because he wrote a book called Hillbilly Elegy, and he made hillbillies and rednecks look like they was worse than crackheads in the hoods. You know what I'm saying? They even made a show about it. And I was
Oh my
surprised
goodness.
that they let him come in there. And then he said, well, I can just say anything. You know what it's made me do? Take all my credentials of I'm telling y'all what I've been thinking. I can take all my college credits and I'm gonna roll into this law school. It will take me 2 years. I'm gonna pass that bar. I already know it because people already thinks that I could pass the bar. I've took pre-test. I said I become a lawyer, and then I'm gonna get in the Senate. And because it seems like they just say anything. Anybody who pass that bar. I think that the Senate shouldn't even be made of lawyers. I think general public, I've said this before on previous shows. I think the general public should be part of the Senate. Just me. He has good points. I love his countering points and stuff. Willing to debate, but still love each other and respect each other. We Miss Leone, you on there, Richie King, Big Hank, let the lawyers be, once we come to a conclusion, then let them write it up the correct way. But he said, did you actually read the book or even watch the movie? Of which one? Bring back to part of the conversation we were talking about. If you're talking about Kyle Rittenhouse, Kyle Rittenhouse, even the MAGAs done turned their backs on him. He's running scared because they even admitting that we lied for you and you ain't doing nothing. I'm just being honest. You should check it out. That's the modern news on him. Starlet said, perfect. Pass that bar. I think me too. Appreciate that. Oh, it's hillbilly elegy. And I didn't like what he said about my white neighbors in that book. And then he keep referring to Kentucky when you was raised in Ohio. What was you, the Beverly Hillbillies that moved up to Ohio, and now you talk about them? Now you want them same people to vote for you?
Wow.
I did read it. I was reading the book, but I haven't watched the movie. I've seen the clips, but I did read a lot of the excerpts of the book. And I had me laughing. I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm like, whoa. For real. So he made them seem like they was on drugs and didn't have no educational sense or common sense. That was why it spent off to me, just me. I'm just being honest with you. This is what J.D. Vance wrote. But they pick. To me, I think the Republicans need to groom somebody. Because I'll be honest with you, I can be swayed. I voted Republican on the second term of George W. Bush Jr., and then he messed it up by going to war with Iraq. I was making nice money. Everybody was making money on George W. Bush first and second term. He was creating highways extension. And with me being a civil designer, I was bringing home some cash. He says it's how he grew up. Middleton is literally across the river from Kentucky. I live in Ohio. Oh, I didn't know and stuff. But he sure talked about him bad. You know that too. Just me and stuff, for real. But I want to state this, y'all. I always state that God is closer to me than my own mouth. One thing that I hope that we all have in common is that me, myself, believe in God who's a spirit, and they that worship him must worship him in spirit and in truth. And through his son, I got salvation, and which is Jesus Christ. That's my belief. I never push it on somebody and tell them, hey, you're wrong in the way you think. You know what I'm saying? He said his grandparents was from Kentucky. He said, what is bad or just honest? Was it bad? Oh, I don't know. I just said way me on the outside looking in. I didn't say it was bad. It was just the way he did make him look bad. And he was honest. He did make him look bad, but it's just amazing how he wants them to vote, get their votes. I'd be like, man, you ain't getting my vote the way you talked about me, because that's where I have a discrepancy, y'all, about former President Donald Trump. Thank you, Charles. She said, amen. It's because it's not his political things, and I listen to speeches, but it's when I see an isolated situations where it's a group of blacks and he's trying to get the women to vote, and he say, if you don't vote for me, these animals is going to attack you and your daughter. I did not like that at all, because that image resembled me and my family and friends, close friends. Now I got my white neighbors and all that. He didn't show us sprinklet of different people. He showed just a black group, and that's the only thing. Now, whoever's his campaign manager, he needs to fire him, because they let him go just free willy. Now, The same things though that they were saying about they were talking about President Joe Biden and sleepy and old and all that. It seems like former President Donald Trump is having some degenerate, some health mind stuff too. He's 78. And then I hear people worried about him telling the congregation, "Oh, you vote this time, you won't have to vote again." Well, that man sometimes talk from the side of his neck, but don't mean that you can take that in philosophy. And my thing is, I don't want to hear about name calling and all that. I have a problem with that. That gives me a good laugh, and like I'll be like, "Ooh, they said this. Oh, he said that." But what do this have to do with me being a citizen of America and becoming the best that I can? What happened to the pursuit of happiness? What's the United States Constitution that we have to uphold when you do take office? If we're going to believe that this person was bad or just honest and stuff, and whether each one, he can be honest and it was bad, because sometimes some things don't need to be said, but if we're going to be honest, let's be honest. She said, "Don't make me laugh." He said, "But it's okay when Joe says, if you don't vote for me, you ain't black." No, I did not agree with that. And see, this is where I didn't agree with that when he said that. I didn't agree when President Joe Biden, when he was running. Matter of fact, he was at this time going against, if you remember the Democratic convention in 2020, when Vice President Kamala was on as the vice president, she was going against President Joe Biden, and she was coming in deep. And I was surprised President Joe Biden made her vice president the way she came in deep on him. But like you just said, was it bad or just honest? I did not like when President Joe Biden, let me tell you something now, and I was saving that. President Joe Biden, as me being in the black neighborhood, worked as Ronald Reagan with the crime bill. Then as I got mature, I didn't like what he did with President Bill Clinton when they came out with that if you send young blacks at the age of 18, 19, and 20 to prison and let them out between 38 through 40, they'd be a more prosperous citizen. I did not like that. I was just doing the consensus. If you notice, I'm fair with what I say, just me. What I didn't like in the consensus is that blacks make up 14.5% of the United States. This country has more prisons than any other country in the whole world. But yet, blacks make up 80% of the prisons around this whole United States. I do not like that, because only 2.5% of the 14.5% commit crimes. But they throw us in prison for child support issues, second DUI. How many times we got to stop having parking tickets? Well, we're going to give you 6 months to learn. That type of stuff. Their war on drugs was if a person had one crack rock, you was getting 2 to 5 years. When Robert Downey had a big vial of crack on his lap, he's caught up in the alley in my back of my apartment. And guess what? They put him in the Betty Ford clinic. And next move he did was he's Iron Man. You wasn't Iron Man when that crack rock was sitting on your leg. Just Me said some of these hollers in Kentucky are like that, though. That's what he was talking about. Appalachia is a very strange place to someone from the outside looking in. I'll say, okay, I appreciate that, Just Me. I'm gonna look those places up. Great show. Thank you, Miss Starlet. Just Me said they throw white people in prison for child support and DUIs too. No, I'm not saying that they don't. I'm saying the proportional ratio, Just Me. I never said that they don't. I'm just saying is my white neighbors make up 72% of this country. The blacks, we make up 14.5%. That's real. U.S. America, the United States of America, has more prisons than any other countries in the world. Russia don't even have that. They give you one big old prison. You go in there, you coming out, you ain't coming out. You ain't coming out doing the same stuff. You done got beat on the bottom of your feet. But I'm just
But
saying
see,
is,
most of the other countries, they take people out. If you get caught stealing with your hands, they take your hands off. You get caught molesting, they cut your penis off. So these are different rules. If we molest someone here or rape someone here, we throw them in prison for a long time, and then we let them out, and then they rape again.
well, some of these I
Some,
found
not
some of these
all.
rapes comes when these people don't get a lot of time. But I'm just saying is, it was Richie King who told me that it was like 97.5% of my white neighbors, men, that do seditious acts with kids and rapes with kids than any other race here in America. Now that was from what from Richie King. Um Started agreed with you. She said, that's right, beautiful. See, my point is this. No matter what the crime, I'm looking at the ratio or percentage. Are you telling me that after 2.5% of the 14.5% of this population, which is the blacks, which is they purported that only 2.5 commit crimes, that of all the prisons in the United States, that blacks make up 80% of the prison? You can look it up. They make up 80% of the prisons. Did you know that, like in California, Miss Leone, Miss Starlet, those who live in California know this, that when the prisons are overcrowded in California, you know, they ship them over to Wyoming and other states, and they have them that you can reduce your time by helping fight forest fires that's in these other states or some of these states, and they bargain that. A lot of people don't know that. States
Yes, they
are
do.
Yeah, states pay prisons for each person. Let me tell you what they did. And this is back to President Joe Biden. Did you know that if me, Leone, Miss Starlet, just me, we all came together and put our money together to open up a 1,500 housing facility that we want to call a prison? Okay, so we go through our paperwork, and these are called private sanctioned prisons. We go do our paperwork with the state. They say, okay, now guess what our request is? We would like a 78% of capacity. Since you done approved us, we would like to have 78% capacity starting right now. Oh, well, we don't have that many people to commit crime. Well, you better make something happen. So that's when they take DUIs, just me, and child support and put people in for prisons nor anything. When a man sells a pizza, you remember that, Leone? And he still one slice of pizza, and they gave him a third strike, do 300 something years because
Yep.
he stole. Come on now.
Yes,
Yeah, you would think
that's
that, but
injustice.
sometimes California don't have fire, but we have other states that surrounded us that's have fire. They're sending our prisoners over there. Even if there was no forest fire, overcrowdedness has happened in California prisons all the time. Am I lying, Leone?
Huh?
California have a lot of over prison crowdedness, the jails and all that.
Yep.
And so that what they do is they send some of our prisoners to these other states. But you know what? I just want to say this. Like David said in the Bible, I was young and now I'm old. I've never seen the righteous forsaken or their seed begging for bread. I just want everyone to know God isn't just for me, he's for you and you and you and you, and he's closer to you than your own mouth. Do we mess up? Yes. He said, if you say you without sin, you are a liar and the truth isn't with you. But if you confess your sins, he is quick and just to forgive you. I'm not ashamed. I come on here all the time. Now, do I have my points? Do I have like Miss Starlet works she's a paralegal who works for a major law firm. Look what she said: private prisons are popular when we want to make money off of other people. But guess what? I found out I'm gonna bring up about these churches. That's gonna be one of my thing next week. We're gonna talk about, because I seen in the scriptures where if a preacher gets paid, that's a sin. It says for a preacher to go get a job. You know, I thought that, That's what it's at. I can show the
You
scripture.
don't have that
Hey,
much
you know who I
time. We
love?
would talk about this next week.
Oh yeah, we're gonna talk about because you know who I love? Reverend Geno Jennings. And Geno Jennings is the first black preacher I've seen where his congregation do have whites and blacks, Latinos, and they sit up there and he runs from the word. Too many times we sugarcoat the word, and the word cannot be dispelled for what it is. It's the basic instructions before leaving up. We're gonna get onto that next week. That's gonna be one of our things. I say we pray for all of our politicians. You know what? I said, if I was to meet Donald Trump, I would say, hey, sir, I'm not about the politics. I just want to know is that God loves you too, man. And we can talk about this and that. You feel me? My goal is that every man gets saved. I would like to see everybody I know to go to heaven. I know some of us ain't. I don't know if I would get it there, but I'm trying and stuff. And so the thing is, and Just Me said, now if congressmen would get a job at 10 days. Man, you will tell about I love Just Me, man. Yes, amen, everyone. So check this out. Mr. Yoni, before we get off, this last thing you would like to state, please.
Well, it was a pleasure being on today, and I'm glad I had the time, and I can't wait for more of the topics to come. And I wish everyone peace, love, and joy, and know who to follow, because when it's all said and done, if we follow the wrong person, we will not see each other in heaven together.
Well, you know what? I'm glad you said that, Miss Leone. That's a good point. You know, while we're getting off here, I just want everybody to know is that whether we agree or disagree, let's love one another. I got major love for Just Me. That's my brother. I for real. I wouldn't care what he looked like, whatever. He said, great show today, y'all. Thank you, man. And look here. I want everyone to smile. And just think, laugh like my mother say, smile because I love you, but God loves you more. Let's not take it into heart. Matter of fact, I always remember, find every man a lie and God the truth. If they ain't lining themselves with God, then give an ear. If we love each other down, I can't love you the way I can love you, but I can't do it so effectively if your disagreement with me is on my existence to be a human. Let me have that. And I want to thank everybody for coming up. Thank you, Miss Darla. Thank you, dear lady. It's a pleasure to be on this great show. Thank you. I want to thank Miss Leone for coming out of her busy schedule because she is a busy person. And I just want to thank you because of insights. I would like to thank my man Just Me, Starlet, those who's listening and watching. I'm an American citizen. I love my Americans, but I love all the people in the world. But I classify myself as American. I feel like I'm in one of the most blessed countries. I love it. And I think that sometimes we are spoiled. We so entitled that other people in their countries come over here. But we're going to talk about that. But next week, we're going to be talking about our churches, our church bases. And y'all have a blessed weekend. I'm Roy Anthony. My co-stars wasn't able to show us always something would be going on, but Miss Leone Waite was here and shared the story to everybody and stuff. One love, one God, one baptism. I'm out of here. God bless everyone.
Welcome to the Roy Anthony every Tuesday and every Thursday. Y'all
Hey,
tap in.
is this thing on? Can you hear me?